Hi there, welcome back to our Gold Experience B2 online video classes. I hope you're well. This unit we've been looking a little bit at viewpoints, viewpoints, ways of seeing. We've looked at viewpoints from different animals, literally the way they see the world, the way they visualize the world. But we also have to think about viewpoints meaning opinions. Okay? Different opinions. Now, do you have similar opinions, similar viewpoints to your friends? Do you sometimes fall out with your friends, about different things? Do you fall out with your friends about politics? Do you fall out with your friends over sport or over maybe the way they have behaved? If you have, can you usually work the problem out? Some phrasal verbs there. To fall out with somebody, meaning to argue. To work something out, meaning to find the solution. And then make up with a friend. Okay, to make up with somebody is to become a friend again after a problem. Okay, so let's have a think about how we need to respect different viewpoints, different ways of thinking and seeing the world. Let's open our books onto page 86. Okay, so we're looking at the essay section, but first let's think about that idea. These days of quarantine, of lockdown, of staying at home, social media has become more important. Have you had any problems? Has the use of social media led to any misunderstandings? Yeah? Have you fallen out with friends because of a problem on social media? Or had a difference of opinion? What do you think is the best way to deal with this? Yeah, I don't know. In my opinion, the best way is to be very careful when you're posting an idea or talking on social media. I think sometimes we put things down on the media, but because the person is not there, we perhaps are a bit crueler than perhaps we should be. Anyway, look at part 2. Here are some comments about getting on with people, and listening to their different viewpoints. Which of these comments do you like best and why? Okay. When I've finished reading them, pause them, think and decide for yourself. Okay. If you talk to teenagers from different parts of the world, you realise how much we all have in common. Is that true? Do you have friends in different countries? Do you realise you have more in common with them than maybe older people from your country? Respecting other people's opinion doesn't always have to mean you agree with them. Yeah, I think that's true, isn't it? It's definitely more about the way people behave. You can have differences of opinion, but you need to respect the opinion as long as it deserves respect. Other people won't always share your opinion, and you won't always be able to persuade them that they're wrong. It's a good idea to put yourself in someone else's shoes and see things from their perspective. Okay? It's a good tactic sometimes when you're writing an essay or when you're arguing something. What do you think the opposing view is? How do you react to that opposing view? It's a good tactic. Okay, so which of those do you like best? Well, now that we've thought a little bit about different viewpoints and opinions, let's look at the essay task, the model essay task. Here we have a typical B2 first essay. Now remember, it's very, 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 and very important to work hard on essays because you are guaranteed an essay. It's number 1 of the two parts in the writing exam, and absolutely 100% certain you're going to get an essay. Okay, so you work hard on an essay, then you can certainly guarantee that 50% of your writing exam will be at least in control, in your hands. Okay, so let's look at the essay title and notes. In your English class, you have been talking about the importance of respecting other people's opinions. Okay, there we have it. It's always the same format. Okay, your English teacher has asked you to write an essay. It's always your English teacher, so you know it's going to be formal. Write your essay using all the notes and giving reasons for your point of view. Okay, and here you always have the idea. Different opinions can sometimes cause problems. What do you think? Okay, different opinions can sometimes cause problems. There we have the focus. Notes. Write about 1. with friends, 2 at school, and 3 your own idea. Okay, your own idea. So remember, it's very important in this section you will be talking about 3 issues. Okay, but just pause for a moment. What do you think your own idea could be? Had any ideas? I sometimes think this is the most difficult part of the exam, writing-wise, coming up with an idea. In this case, different opinions can cause problems. You might think about, what? I don't know, online, being online, okay? You might talk about problems between generations, okay? You might talk about, it says with friends, so maybe with your family. Different options. I think those are probably the most obvious ones. Okay, let's look at the sample essay on part 4 on page 86. Okay, here we have an essay. Read it. Do you agree with the ideas that the writer has expressed? And what is the third point that the writer has chosen? Does he include the other 2 as well? And where? Pause the video. Read it through slowly. It's a very good essay. Okay? Pause. Okay. So there you go. Did you agree with that? It was interesting, huh? There's some good ideas there. What was the third idea, his own idea? Yeah, it was probably the most logical one. Number 1 was with friends, so number 3 is with family or family life, and so on. Especially talking about the relationship between parents and teens. Okay, did he include all 3 points? Yes, he did, clearly. Okay, we have the main body after the introduction, and we have 3 paragraphs, 1 for each point. It's really very important to be very organised. Divide your writing into paragraphs. Okay, good. Did you agree with what he said? Okay. Right, well, let's look at part 5. One of the most important things to remember is that in your writing, okay, it's important to link ideas, okay? It's important because the examiner will give you points for organisation, and if you link your ideas, okay, it's good organisation in the paragraph and between paragraphs. It's good communication, which is also something that the examiner looks for, because it helps the person who is reading to know the structure, or what idea. Is it going to be an idea? Is it going to be a reason? It helps them, it guides them, it takes them in a carefully planned route. Okay, look at these useful linking phrases. They're also very good in terms of vocabulary and language, so the examiner will be impressed as well. Not necessarily have to be complex, but they just need to be used appropriately. So remember, it's essential to make it clear how your ideas and your ideas are connected, either in a paragraph or between paragraphs, so that the reader can follow your argument. A key area, for example, is staging. Okay, and we can see there it's very clearly, firstly, like we see in our example essay number 4. Okay. Yes, he says firstly to introduce paragraph 2, then secondly, finally, in conclusion. Okay, very clearly delineating the piece. You can add points. Okay, so in addition, what's more, maybe to add another example. Okay, or another argument in favour of your point. No examples. You might need to express your opinion. Okay. Remember, essays should be quite formal, but also neutral. Try not to be always saying I think. Try and be a bit more neutral. Some people say, or firstly, if you agree, and so on. Here, for example, he does say in paragraph 3, secondly at school, he says, however, in my opinion, their goal is essentially the same. So, in my opinion is a classic. Okay. You need to give examples to support your opinion or what you're talking about in each thing. Okay, the example is, for example, okay, which he uses in the paragraph about family life. Family life can sometimes be tricky, difficult. For example, comma, your pet. So, for example, for this reason, so that is why. You might need to express a different point of view. Okay, remember, try to be quite neutral. Okay, you have your idea, but recognise that there are, like we say, it's a good idea to put yourself in someone else's shoes. Respect other opinions. Okay, you might say, some people argue from many points of view, generally speaking, meaning that's the general idea. However, again, contrast it with your opinion. You may need to refer to subtopics. What does that mean? Well, the general topic here is about differing opinions can cause problems. The subtopic is friends, school, family life. So if we look at the number 4, it says firstly with reference to friends. Okay, introduces the subtopic regarding friends. Okay, try and not use the word about. I mean, they do tell you in some classes, but I don't like it. Use with reference to or regarding. Regarding's a really good one. Okay. Good. Let's look at the essay again in part 4. Let's just think about how writing essays has some standard things that we need to include. Okay, first of all, tenses. If we look through the essay, which tense is mainly used? Can you find any uses of the passive form? Pause. So, which tense is used mainly? Yeah, present tenses, usually present simple. Why? Because it's talking about something that's generally true. And I think this is basically the case for most essays. Okay. Also notice, however, it's a good opportunity to use modal verbs like people might argue, or it could be could, can, may, might. Okay. The passive is quite useful to distance yourself. I say things like it is said that. Okay. Is there any examples of the passive here? Well, actually, not very many. There is one in the paragraph about friends. It says, it's nice if you agree on basic issues so that trust is built up. Yeah, trust increases. Okay, is built up by the people. Okay, so passive. Variety of language, absolutely. Yeah, there's some phrasal verbs. Built up is a phrasal verb. Okay, there are other options. I think you may find. I think talk things through, for example. Or when he's talking about family life, he says in that case it's best to work it out together. Okay, collocations, very important, collocations. Words like basic issues, family life, or bad habits. Okay, if you look in the first one, it says it's nice to agree on basic issues, or whether it's about your attitude or your bad habits. Okay, bad habits, another strong collocation. Sentence structure. In an essay, you're going to be using more complex sentences. Try not to get too long, okay? Not these enormous Spanish sentences with comma, comma, comma. If you have more than one comma, stop and think. Should I perhaps either use a linking word, or should I put a full stop and introduce the next sentence with a linking phrase? Okay, but certainly you should be looking at making sentences that would have maybe two clauses. Okay, like firstly, with reference to friends, it's nice if you agree on basic issues so that trust is built up. Okay, there's got a nice couple of clauses. And paragraph organisation, fundamental. Clarity, clarity comes from the word clear. Okay, so clarity, very logical. Layout is organisation. Okay, so very clear. Paragraph, introduction, 1, 2, 3, conclusion. Okay, almost 100% of the essays that you're going to be writing for B2 will follow that idea of introduction, point 1 from your notes, point 2 from your notes, point 3 your own idea, and conclusion. Okay, so nearly finished. Have a look at part 7. This is your homework. This is something for you to do. Remember to follow these steps. So you've got a task. You've been talking about differences between people, the differences between people make life interesting. I need to write this essay. Do you think life would be boring if we all held the same opinions? I'm going to suggest we get rid of the word interesting in the question, okay? So I'll point that. Yeah. Forget the word interesting in the question. It doesn't make much sense. So you're discussing this. Do you think life would be boring if we all held the same opinions? And you've got the talk about fashion, music, and your own idea. Okay? So the first thing you'll need to do, obviously, is to think about the third point that you want to write about. Okay? And of course your answer to that question. Do you think it would be boring if we had the same opinion? Think about your third point. Make notes about your ideas. Think about examples you can use to illustrate it. Organise your ideas. It doesn't take very long. You're just going to do introduction. Choose any linking phrases. Maybe have a think about your linking phrases. Again, it doesn't have to be complex. We know that we're going to say firstly, secondly. You might add what is more instead of finally, or as well as that. Okay? In conclusion, think of any phrases that you might want to use, any vocabulary that comes to mind. Comes to mind, there's an expression. And then you're ready. Okay? After that, write your essay. Okay? Should take around 140 words. Okay? Now, I strongly, 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 strongly recommend, okay? Here it's a bit different, but in the exam, and probably it's a good idea for you to practice now, in the exam, you should write your essay quickly on rough paper. They give you rough paper, and then do a clear copy where you can correct any mistakes, maybe add in a linking word, and just check that it is coherent and flows. Okay? So, there we have it. I would prefer it if you sent it me typed into a Word document. Sorry, I'm giving you a lot of work there. If you can't, you can't. Send it me as a PDF or a JPEG or something. But if you could send it me as a Word document, it's easier for me to correct. Okay? It's very difficult to correct JPEGs, for example. I don't have any, I have not very much ink left in my printer, so I'm not very keen on printing lots of homework. Okay? Remember, Keep your use of language fairly formal. Don't forget the golden rule. Show what you know. Try and use some modal verbs, phrases, more difficult nouns. Okay. And there we have it. Okay, so we'll stop there. Hopefully next week we'll start talking to each other as well. Okay. Important to practice this writing for the exam and for the future, to increase your vocabulary, but also to start practicing expressing ideas orally. Okay, so keep your eyes ready. Okay, so see you there. Have a good weekend. See you later.